What is up, my AKAPADers? Peter ate the looker here. You guys know the drill. Known throughout Philadelphia, PA, Europe, and the vast multiverse as your eclectic one. It's Wildstorm Wednesday. I am so proud to bring you guys another episode. And if you're new here, here's what it is. Generally, highly influential. Maybe we can argue the most influential form to come into American comic books ever. Isn't that a broad statement? Well, look. On Wednesdays, we get into this on a very micro and macro scale. We study Jim Lee's Wildstorm Productions. We study him, all his contemporaries, all the people that came through his company, and even, well, all that silliness he's up to today. So, guys, here we go. It's Wildstorm Wednesday. I can't wait to bring it to you guys. Rock and roll. Let's hit that video. Good morning, AKAPADers. I have a question. Happy Wildstorm Wednesday, guys. It's the first one of the calendar year, and we're doing a video I never thought I would do. I guess we're branching out a little bit, and we're being a little bit more aggressive with the branching out because we're through a lot of the Wildstorm universe material, outside of some of these crossovers and individual issues. We're going to get to a lot of that this year, but a lot of the intent of Wildstorm Wednesday is to show you the scope of Wildstorm Productions, which I still believe it's if not the greatest, it's one of the greatest independent comic book publishers we've ever had. It's got highs and lows. So Gen 13, right, is their big hit, and this is Gen 13 Volume 1, right? And so we get a 5-issue miniseries. 5-issue miniseries becomes Gen 13 monthly. And monthly runs for almost 10 years. Well, we got two other volumes. Both I'm not familiar with. We have Gen 13 Volume 3 here. Look who's the writer here, guys. Chris Claremont. Ali Garza, fantastic choice. Get some of that light out of the way. Right, but we can see just by flipping through this, this is just teenage kids. It looks like it's in the spirit. It looks like it's of the day, meaning it's a lot of that udon coloring. Right, but Gen 13, I believe this might have been 13 cents. Right? No, one of them was 13 cents. But I think this was, how much was this? This was 13 cents. Isn't that awesome? So a huge launch with Chris Claremont, doing teens with superpowers. One of my used bookstores had this. It's a whole stack of Gen 13 Volume 4. Here's the amazing thing. For the longest time, I thought that the Gen 13 Chris Claremont was the same series as, we'll call this the Gail Simone Volume 4 Gen 13. And I thought that because, again, we're talking early 2000s. We're breaking, right, the 2000s, so we're getting into 2008, 2009. This is a lot of where I started to bleed out of comics and gain other interests, again, in this world. I thought this reign, Claremont was on this for 10 issues, and then Gail Simone took over. I was wrong. So what I did while I was in the bookstore, I looked this up, and I'm man, I was how come off the top of my head I don't know the volumes of Gen 13? I really should, even though our intent for Wildstorm Wednesday is really the what I call the Wildstorm universe, and then as a publisher, Wildstorm bleeds out. And they keep trying to revive Gen 13. This Volume 3 ran for about a year. While Volume 4, and maybe this goes to show you a little bit of what the direction is. Volume 4, Gail Simone, Talon Caldwell. So we have this Top Cal connection. This was about 40 issues. So we get 1 year versus 4 years. we get J. Scott Campbell launching with the cover. This version of Gen 13 got a really weird Jim Lee cover. I don't have it. I have to get it at this point just to show you guys. But Jim Lee had like a weird collage period at one time. He did this one cover for this other DC Vertigo book called Flinch. I believe it was called Flinch. I might be wrong, but he just had like, and like the Gen 13 issue 1 launch cover by Jim Lee is also like in this very weird era that he had. But I've had 2 previous issues of this run here later. I just assumed they were all together. I didn't grab those for this video because we're kind of doing this like unboxing, because I know for a lot of you guys love Talon Caldwell. You love Talon Caldwell and the Michael Turner connection. I know we're not supposed to like Gail Simone, but a lot of this, I don't think you guys have flipped through this or know it. I know I don't. So like, what a better way to open up Wildstorm Wednesday in 2026. There's no better way than going through some new books. And Talent really is, like, he is a talent. But I can just see, like, even Gruncher just looking, like, beat up and dazed. Look at his Rainmaker. I love her. Wow, she looks, like, crazy. Like, his Fairchild and his Rainmaker. Like, and this has hints of how J. Scott would render her. And I'll show you guys, too, the reason why I bought the stack, even though, right, I knew I was overpaying at the time. The cover for issue 12 took me. Here we go. We got our boy right here, Stormfront, Jim Lee. And look, all these years deep. I mean, look, rich publishing profile. The problem, though, is that in this time in the Wildstorm universe, they kept trying to revive everything that they had and the connective tissue that they had in like the early days. And I believe this bleeds into like a crossover that ends, like that officially ends the Wildstorm universe later. And I think there's like a reboot called Wildstorm that Warren Ellis may have written. But I think, and that reboot might be like 14, 15, 16 issues. So the later years of Wildstorm, I'll say again, and look, they're just like trapped in this like cell. This is like very Star Wars, like New Hope. Like we're trying to. Here it is. Is this it? What is this? Captain Atom Armageddon. So this is. It's like we have to kind of get this and read this. Wow, like even with the Alex Ross cover. We have to get and read this. This is the end of what they call like the Wildstorm universe. And then it kind of reboots at this point. And when it rebooted, that's kind of where it never quite turned the corner in coming back. But cover to cover, I just thought, I mean, again, like these covers just showcase. I mean, we have Fairchild, we have Freefall, right? Freefall? Oh my god, what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. We got Grunge, we got Burnout. Burnout was the one I kept forgetting the name of. This is Freefall, right? So there's a lot to learn here. There's a lot to read. Layout-wise, this one's drawn by Sonny Lee. But layout-wise, like I'm just liking that there's a lot of panels. These seem meaty. There seems to be a lot of story. I know Gail Simone has her detractors on the social media, but she, in my view, like her books are complete though. And I will always say her Secret Six for DC is one of the best of its era. I love the character covers after issue 1. Here we go. And then again, this is the Gen 13 we want. We want girls in lingerie or bikinis, and we want that pin-up, nudge, wink, wink. Look at the coloring on these 2 pages here. So for this to run 4 issues. I mean, 40 issues roughly. You know, it had to have been a good, like, yeah, I'm not saying the perfect, but it had to have been, yeah, a readable monthly read, right? Like, and I said, look, readable monthly read, right? What am I even saying? Well, I'm just trying to say it had to be entertaining. It had to have been able to compete with some of the books during its day. More so than Volume 3. But just kind of like walking home with this, stack of comics. And I had to walk home with the comics like in my hand out because my bag was full. I was just like thinking, wow, like Gen 13 really should be a title that gets like brought back and revamped. Like every couple years, like every so often, they should always be chipping away at the next combination or like the next look, quote unquote. Wow, who drew this one? Alvin Lee here. So speaking of Udon Studios, we have Udon's Alvin Lee right here. And then this is the, right, Savage Land Gen 13. But really, I mean, nice looking stuff here, guys, right? Like, nice looking. And again, the effects of Udon Studios stems out of the success of the Transformers Dreamwave and Dark Minds, where there was a little bit of a taste for, like, fully, like, rendered, like, animated cell looking. Like, they wanted those cell renders for the American comic book pages. And then we have another artist here. Welcome to the team, Carlo Barbera. But Carlo too, like, clearly can draw, like, has some chops. But issue to issue, like, they're doing, and we have the Authority. But issue to issue, like, we're fully in. Again, like, every issue, some weird adventure. Now, like, previously, they're in the Savage Land. Here, they're with the Authority. This is what monthly comic book reading is all about. This issue just looks awesome. Like, look at his Apollo. So, again, I'm going to reveal that issue 12 to you guys. I'm looking forward for like 2007 here, guys. Like, I'm looking forward to read this. We have Barbera's back here, Carlo. I'm looking forward to reading these. I never thought I would quite get there with this. I really thought once we got through all of the quote unquote Wildstorm universe, we would eventually just do Wildstorm Wednesdays like every other week, and then once a month, right? Like, we would just like dwindle it down, like on the programming sense. Wow, more Carlo here. So Carlo comes on. So Talon Caldwell leaves. Carlo Barbera comes in. Like, I love, like, they do this a lot. A little bit of a comic book trope. There's always, whenever there's a diner, there's a checkered floor. Look, we're getting the trades. So there's just a lot cooking here. And this one too, it just feels like they're a little bit more in the Wildstorm universe. That there's always been positioning problems with exactly what is the Wildstorm universe. Is it more of a genetic modified universe? Look, you go, the Liberty Snot. And this is where there's a little bit of a weird Alan Moore effect with the writing and characters where, everything's like a wink, wink, and not. And here it is. Next issue. The Authorians. So, that's what issue, I'll reveal it now. Like, issue 12, right? Like, I just had to buy this because I'm like, I need to read into this issue. And again, this is comic book reading here. This is the importance of buying floppies. Because it's their kid, right, teenage Authority. And I'm just like staring at this. I'm like, what what is this? And I didn't just want to buy, like, the first 5 or 6 issues and then issue 12. Like, I'm like, just give me the entire run. But also, too, like, at the time, I wasn't even sure, like, how far this ran. I'm like, oh, maybe I got a couple issues left. I can get the whole run. But they are cool. Look, Kid Apollo. Look, Jack Hatfield. Silicon Silhouette. Sweet Sally. Like, I don't know. Like, the Intern, Daybreaker. I don't know who any. And guys, how intelligent is this? We talk about this a lot, where when you have, like, new characters or anything like this, like, tag the characters just so we know who each are. And if you want to go old school, where Claremont, going back to Claremont and X-Men, give a little explanation. Roy Thomas used to do it too, but give a little explanation of who these characters are. That's all you have to do to introduce characters, your audience to characters within a new concept. So I guess, look, here's their origin story. They were babies. Really cool stuff, though. Yeah, and so again, I'm a little bit excited on branching out. Look at this, Grifter with the slingshot. Right, like we're growing our inch, and as like Wildstorm grows and evolves past the Wildstorm universe, like us, Wildstorm Wednesday, as part of this channel, will do that as well. And who's wrong? Is it so Barberi, Carlo Barberi becomes the regular weapon, and you want to say it's a good transition from Talon. Like, really cool stuff. But just flipping through these. I've never seen these before. I'm sure some of you haven't. This is doing what we talked about this. Shazam, the Monster Society of Evil. Shazam and Jeff Smith. This is one of the all-time misses in DC history. But this is like one heck of a looking book, though. Gen 13, Volume 4, my AKAPADers. I even know at the time, I did look it up. This like is maybe like a $20. This might be like a 1 in 50 black and white variant. I hate that stuff. I even know, like, I had to look. I'm like, wow, like 2007, they were doing ratioed variants in comics. Talon Caldwell, Gail Simone. So we have the Top Cow Tuesday connection launching Gen 13 Volume 4. I think we're going to get into Volume 3 as well, since that is roughly a year. And then, like you guys know too, we're very familiar with Gen 13 Volume 2 and the miniseries. I still owe you guys a miniseries walkthrough. But yeah, for the new year, Gen 13 haul.